Hey everyone, I'm April Yoho and I'm a senior developer advocate at GitHub. Now today, we're going to talk about GitHub Models and .NET, specifically how we build those generative AI apps. Now we just made some amazing new updates to GitHub Models, so we're going to go ahead and review some of those updates and all of that capability today. So first off, I want to start off and talk about GitHub as a platform. Now, if any of you out there used GitHub in 2008, you'll know it was pretty much just a source control repository. That was it. Now in GitHub, we have a whole suite of tools that you can use, from collaboration to productivity to security, to help you scale, whether you're in a small startup or a very large organization. But you'll know at every step of the way, you will see AI powering our platform. So we've kind of transformed a little bit in the industry in the last few years. We're effectively using AI to build AI. Now, we have looked at some intelligent machines. We've maybe looked at LLMs in the past, and we've looked at LLMs and maybe what kind of models they're using, but how can we do it faster than ever before? So GitHub Copilot is actually just over 2 years old. And if any of you use GitHub Copilot in its first iteration, you knew it was very much like, let's go ahead and select and accept and kind of did everything in line. But in that time, in 2.5 years, GitHub Copilot has become the world's most widely adopted AI developer tool. Now, it has evolved a lot in those 2 years. So we're going to talk about the evolution of GitHub Copilot first so we can understand the models. So the first phase of AI code generation of GitHub Copilot was really built on 3 key pillars. First, we had AI infusion, and then we got into conversational coding. So if any of you have used GitHub Copilot Chat in Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio, this is exactly what we're talking about. But now we've brought in multi-model functionality, and this is really, really important because now you get the choice of your models. We have just delivered the OpenAI O1 preview and the O1 mini. And then we just announced Claude 3.5 and Gemini 1.5 Pro about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now at GitHub Universe. So we're really looking forward to what this new phase brings, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can build with it. So let's kind of talk about the new changes that you're going to see in your IDE. Now, GitHub Copilot in your IDE is evolving. We offer GitHub Copilot Chat in both Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio. Now, we tend to offer all these things first in in Visual Studio Code. So by moving these features more into your editor in your IDE, it means you have less context switching, which is really good for all of us because as I've progressed in my career, I'm pretty terrible at context switching. And the reality is, as a developer, I don't get to write code all day long. I have meetings to attend. I'm usually waiting on compute, waiting on access to different resources. So context switching is really tough for me. So being able to have all the tools I need in my IDE is helping me be a lot more successful as a developer. So we've released a whole new set of features in Visual Studio Code. We've enabled you to do multi-file editing, multi-model selection, being able to do code reviews within your IDE, repository indexing, code referencing, doing custom instructions, using third-party extensions, including GitHub, Azure, the models that we'll see in a minute, and helping you look at intent and reviews as well. Now, all of these features are available to every single person that is licensed for Copilot. So if you're using GitHub Copilot today, whether you're an individual, a business, or an enterprise, you have access to all these capabilities. So before we go any further, let me go ahead, switch over, and show you what we've got. So I'm in my my VS Code IDE right now. I have a file open that's written in C# and I have GitHub Copilot Chat open. Now with the chat capability, we want to give people the features and the capability within that opportunity. So I am asking it to just reference my file. But if we notice here down on the bottom right-hand side, I can pick my model. So if I go ahead and open this up, I can see them using GPT-4o. I have the O1 mini available or O1 preview also available, which is also in preview. And then we just released Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So that's available for you. You're able to select that within your IDE. And I want to show you a new extension that has just gotten released that is absolutely amazing. If I just zoom out a little bit, pull up my extensions, and we can see that there's a new AI toolkit that has just been released by the Visual Studio Code team. A couple things we can do with this. We can look at models from the model catalog. And if I select this, we'll go right to the catalog of the models available to us. We can scroll through here, look at our models, and we even have access to the playground. And I'm going to dig deeper into what the playground is in a few minutes. And in the catalog here, I can see the different models. It will give me a different selection. I can also look at the playground tools or the fine tuning models. So, and if I need any help with getting started or I need to report an issue, the feedback link is right here in the extension, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's go back and dig down a little bit of how these models actually work. So we've had a big change in the industry, a big shift. We've had the rise of the AI engineer, where we're doing things a little bit differently than we used to. We're now relying on AI to help us start ideas, write unit tests, help us deliver code faster than ever before. Now, with that comes a whole new set of skill sets that we've honestly had to learn in our careers. But also, not every developer has access to top of the line hardware, whether it's a MacBook Pro, or you're working on a Windows device like I am, or maybe you have access to powerful cloud GPUs. And with that, we believe at GitHub that everyone should have access to the latest AI models. We want you to be able to build and learn for the future. Now, the commitment that we have to this at GitHub aligns with our mission to democratize development by providing essential tools and resources, such as, free CI/CD capability with GitHub Actions, or even code spaces entitlements. So we built that into each of the products we see today, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. And by ensuring access to these models for everyone out there, we empower all developers to succeed, no matter what of their hardware or resources available to them. So we've talked a little bit about the Visual Studio, the VS Code experience, but I want to talk a little bit about why we've put models and introduced them how we have. Now, writing code isn't just the only thing we need to build software anymore. And especially as we talk about AI, we need a whole set of other tools. And that might be prompt engineering, learning how to do more architecture, make some decisions at a different level than we used to before. But in this new kind of creator mode that we have, we're building on higher and higher levels of abstraction, whether it's in the cloud. We're working directly with the models. They could be large models, small models, but we need the ability to pick and choose models based off the languages we're working on. Now, today we're going to focus on C Sharp, but maybe you're working on a JavaScript project or a Python project. That's okay. We have tools to help you cater that as well. But we really want to help enable the rise of this AI engineer that we're seeing. And we're using GitHub models to do this. So we're using the ability to bring the power of the industry large models and small language models to you. And this is available to all the 100 million users that are using GitHub today. So we want you to be able to experiment and compare your ideas, test it and deploy it, and having access to all those AI applications right where you manage your source code. So we're going to go into github.com and take a look at that in a minute. And with that, being able to edit your code. And that means being able to spin up a GitHub code space. Again, free entitlement with that, where you get 60 hours free per month. Now, that also depends on how much compute you're using and how much storage space you're using. But if you use the default to not too much storage, you'll get those 60 hours. So I also want to mention that in alignment with GitHub and Microsoft's continued commitment to privacy and security, no prompts or outputs in GitHub models will be shared with model providers, nor is it used to train or improve those models. So we released some models officially in summer 2024 this year. We called it GitHub Models, and we made it an interactive playground for AI engineers to build applications right where your code is, right within github.com. So with these models, you can go directly from the model to a playground, which is a free sandbox environment, to deploying it in no time. So we launched it this summer to make sure that we could have the access to the latest and greatest models out there in the industry. We also upgraded our models a little bit by adding some options for some larger models. So things like Mistral large models. So we've added that along with Mistral Nemo, which isn't as big, but gives us that capability with different kind of flavors of models. And it's not just the big models. We also have some smaller models available. So we have Fee 3 available. So we cater to all those sizes, whether large or small. And coming out of that ecosystem a little bit, we've given some open intelligence capability with Meta's Llama Suite as well. So we have just released those, so you'll have that capability. So as of today, released at GitHub Universe a couple weeks ago, we have added even more amazing models to our platform. So you now have access to all of these models, and you can get them on github.com. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at how we get access to these models, what the playground looks like, and what the experience is. So to get started, we're going to go to the GitHub Marketplace. When we go to the GitHub Marketplace, we can see that we have access to Copilot, some apps, some other actions. But if I go down and select on the models option here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the whole slew of models available to us. When I scroll down here, I can see that there are quite a bit of models that we have an option to use. And I'll be really honest, it can be pretty overwhelming of which ones to use, when's the right time to do it. So I'm going to leverage our friend AI, GitHub Copilot, to help us with this. So I'm going to start a general purpose chat with GitHub Copilot. Now, I kind of talked about how we have these things called extensions. Now I could ask GitHub Copilot, it's going to give me the ability to search, but I want to get more specific and I want it to query our models. Now, the models extension goes directly to the GitHub, to the models query. So I'm querying that knowledge base of the model's data to understand. So I'm going to ask it, what is the best model to use for C# development? And let's see what it says. So it gives me an output with actually 4 different models to use. So I still have options, but it's narrowed it down from all the ones we had before. I can look at GPT 4.40, the Meta Llama 3.1. I have Mistral Large or the O1 preview. So there's quite a few goods. And actually, I really like how it gives me pros and cons. I'm a lot more informed and it gives me a whole summary of the recommendations. So Copilot gave me some really good options, but I want to go with the Mistral Large model. So I'm going to scroll down. I can see the Mistral Large. I want to see what the Mistral Large model looks like. Now, from the page here, we can see that we can ask it a question directly in the message bar up here. Tells us a little bit about it, gives us the licensing information. It also tells us what languages it's available in. Now, this is really important because if English is not your first language, you might want to speak to the model in another language like German or French or Spanish. So it can understand those pretty well. We also know what the rate limit is, so it's on a high tier rate limit, and we get provider support. Now, with every single one of these models, it's really easy. You select the playground, and we go straight to the free playground here. Now, when I go to the playground, I have this chat ability, and I can go ahead and ask it questions. I can also give it a system prompt, and I have these abilities to kind of change the token size, the temperature, and the p-values. So if you want to get into that, you absolutely can. But what I want to do here is I want to compare the Mistral Large model because remember, it gave us 4 different options from Copilot of what might be good models. I want to compare it to a completely different size model. Now, I want to use the Meta Llama model and see what the differences are. So there's a couple of different ways we can do this. Anything we input into the chat prompt or the code bit will mirror across the 2 different models. Now, I can get started and say, can you help me write cleaner code? Because we all want that, right? Well, let's see. So you can see that it's typing it in both sides. Both models are going to respond, and they want to know what is the purpose. They're going to ask some questions. So remember, we have to give context to these different models. That's really important. So I'm going to open up our code from before, and I have a broadcast file open here. I'm just going to go ahead, copy this code out, and I'm going to ask our model to make it a lot cleaner. So I can do a few things. I can put it directly into the code capability, but I'm going to go ahead and put it directly into the chat and see what happens. And if you noticed, it mirrored it in both options. So both the Mistral Large model and the Meta model both saw the same data. Now we can see they're responding at different times. They're going to review the code in different ways. So both are giving recommendations and giving me outputs. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Mistral Large model here. I'm going to scroll up and I can see the output that it's given me. It simplified some code and okay, good. So my code was already quite clean and well structured, but there are a few improvements we can make for maintainability. So it's made a few bits where, all right, it's given me 4 different suggestions and it's implemented them for me. So if I go to the other model in the Meta model, it's given me 8 different suggestions that we can implement. So this is a really good opportunity here to compare these two different outputs side by side, and then really figure out which model really works for you. The other thing we can do, if we're happy with how this playground has how it's happened, if we want to deploy it to production, we can select um, to get the API key. So I've already selected to do it in C#. I've asked for the Azure AI Inference SDK. So that's all good. It will help me create the personal access token. It will get me the production key, the developer key, and it walks me through the steps to do that. Now, also, to actually launch this to production, I can select Run Codespace. I will open up a GitHub Codespace, which is a secure development in the cloud, and it looks identical to VS Code. And I can sync all my extensions from VS Code on my laptop locally into that code space, so I have an identical coding and developer environment. So it's really easy to get the API key. And if I select the code piece here, it also is really good at, well, it's put in the Azure key credential for us, and it's going to go ahead and add our code. It's show the model here, and let's see what else it's done for us. Yep, so it's all good. And it hasn't exposed any secrets, which is really important. It's given us the URI to follow for our credentials, and we're good to go. Now, if I look at the code base of the Meta, it's pretty similar as well, just calling the different model. So we have a lot of capability here. We can then go deploy this into Azure or into another environment. And I also just want to point out, while we are working in C#, we have the ability to work in Python, JavaScript, Java, or any REST calls as well. So we have quite a bit of flexibility in this and how we use this and how we leverage it. So it's a really cool feature. I can also copy this code. I can go into my my VS Code environment and ask CoPilot to reference it. I can also query those models from the new plugin from VS Code. So let's go ahead and look at how you can get your hands on this technology. So the good news is there is no more waitlist for GitHub Models. This is available to you today. All you have to do is get started with going to the marketplace, just like I showed you. And honestly, we want to see what you build and how you build it. So you can use the models extension. So if you saw in GitHub CoPilot chat in my VS Code, I was able to call the app models extension, but also I could do that within CoPilot within my browser. So you have models available as well in the CLI. You have access to the playground, which doesn't cost anything. You'll have access to the same side-by-side comparison to start comparing the models and all sorts of good stuff. You'll have access to code samples, so it can spit out code samples for you, access to the API keys, and the multimodal model, which was super critical. But the thing that I also really like is that we want your feedback. We want to make this a better product. So I've put a link here for you guys directly to give us feedback on how you're using GitHub Models, how we can make it better, and anything else in between. So before we leave, I am really looking forward to seeing what everyone builds. So to get started, you go to the GitHub Marketplace. I've put a link for you here. We have the whole feedback discussion. There's a link for you there as well. I also put in some really good resources if you want to have a good read. One of my good friends and colleagues put out a GitHub Models in .NET with using the semantic kernel blog. Have a read on that if you want to use anything with semantic kernels. Really good descriptor. They also put in a great repository and how to get started. Easy to follow directions. And then you can also read up on how you can build generative AI apps with .NET and GitHub Models. And then also that VS Code AI Toolkit extension. Highly recommend that you install it and get started with that. So I want to thank you all for joining today. It was great to talk about GitHub Models, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you build. So take care and have a good rest of your conference.